She slapped me, in front of 30 people, and called me useless. But she forgot one thing. Security cameras record audio. Guess who's useless now, Sam? The room froze. My cheek was on fire, but my brain went cold. Candles flickered across wine glasses mid-toast. Someone dropped a fork. A birthday balloon bumped against the chandelier with a soft, stupid bounce like it didn't know the world had just cracked open. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't even blink. I just stared at my sister Samantha, age 31, family golden child, queen of harmless jokes and backhanded compliments, and then I turned. Slowly. Looked directly at the security camera mounted over the bar. Smiled. We were at Le Marais, downtown, a place where the cocktails cost more than my grocery bill, and everyone's voice drops to a hush when the maitre d' walks by. It was my mother's 60th birthday. I had booked the reservation, handled the menu, called every flaky cousin, even fronted the deposit. But the moment we arrived, Samantha floated in like the whole night had been her idea. "Mom's going to love this," she cooed. I told Emily we needed something classy." I smiled. Like always. Like the quiet one. The fixer. The forgotten. The cake was supposed to come out at 8:30. At 8:45, Samantha leaned over, sharp as a blade. "Where's the cake?" she hissed. I confirmed with the kitchen, I whispered back. "It's being prepped." She rolled her eyes. "You had one job." And then she slapped me. Just like that. No hesitation, no warning. Open palm, full sound. Right there, between the risotto and the red wine. "Useless," she spat. It echoed. Not just in the room, but in my spine. And that's when I turned to the camera. Not to Mom, not to anyone else. Just to the little red dot above the bar that blinked like it had been waiting for this moment too. "Smile, Sam," I said. "You're on Candid Karma." The next morning, I asked the restaurant manager for the footage. "Audio included, please." He looked stunned but nodded. I clipped it, uploaded it, captioned it. Family dinners hit different. 3 hours later, 250,000 views. 12 hours, 1.1 million. Comments flooded in. "You're not useless. You're done being quiet." "She hit you, and she didn't even organize the party?" "Post the receipt, sis. We believe you." Sam called me. 14 times. I didn't pick up. Mom finally texted, "This is too much. You're embarrassing the family." I replied, "The family embarrassed itself. I just hit upload." For years I thought being the quiet one meant strength, grace, maturity. But all it meant was giving people like Samantha permission to treat me like furniture useful, until I wasn't. I was the one who helped with college applications, who gave up my room when she moved back in, who paid co-pays, and booked this very party. But Sam brought balloons, so of course she was the hero. Not anymore. By the end of the week, I'd moved out, got a new number, bought flowers for myself, and a tattoo on my wrist that reads, "Silence isn't peace." If someone who claims to love you hits you in public, in private, with words, with guilt, you don't owe them your silence. Sometimes, survival is knowing when to press record. And this time, I got the final cut. Le Marais was glowing. Candles flickered in glass faces. Waiters floated like shadows. A soft jazz trio played in the corner, notes curling through the air like perfume. It was the kind of place where conversations feel too loud and forks clinking feel like scandal. The kind of place Samantha loved. The kind of place I reserved. We arrived early. Of course we did. I was the one who confirmed the head count, handled the group seating, talked the manager down from a minimum spend that nearly made me choke. I picked the menu, the table flowers, even designed a little name card for Mom with her favorite quote. I didn't do it for attention. I did it because no one else would. But the moment Samantha walked in heels too high and lipstick too red, everything shifted like a magnet turned over. "Oh my God, look what Sam planned," one of my cousins squealed. Samantha winked. "Only the best for Mom." I stood off to the side, invisible as usual, holding the guest list in my phone like a sad little badge of truth. Samantha was already posing with guests, doing air kisses and, "You made it!" hugs like she was the damn host. She wasn't. She just looked the part. When Mom walked in, Samantha met her with a bouquet, so oversized it practically blocked her face. "Happy birthday, Queen," she shouted. Everyone clapped. Mom cried. Someone handed Samantha a mic. A mic I'd reserved for the toast. But no one looked at me. Why would they? Samantha launched into a speech that sounded like it had been pulled from Pinterest and dipped in syrup. This family, this woman, this night, it's all about love. Everyone swooned. Even Mom. My heart sat perfectly still, like it knew better than to hope for acknowledgement. And of course, Samantha added, waving vaguely toward the crowd, Emily helped. A little. I didn't flinch, I didn't smile either. I took a sip of flat champagne and let the bubbles burn down. Mom's pride and joy, someone whispered from the table behind me, nodding at Samantha. I heard it. Of course I did. I always hear it. Emily, the other voice said. Oh, she's just the quiet one. The quiet one. That's what I've always been. The background music to someone else's show. The one who makes sure things run smoothly but never gets the credit. The one they trust to clean up, pay up, show up but never stand up. I don't even remember when it started. Maybe at 8, when Samantha broke Mom's perfume bottle and blamed me. Maybe at 13, when I got straight A's, and Mom asked if I helped Samantha cheat. Maybe when I paid for Mom's surgery and all she said was, "You're lucky you don't have kids yet." They say some people are born to shine and others are meant to reflect that light. I believe that. I wore it like a second skin. Until that night. Until the slap. Until the word useless stopped being a whisper in my head and became a punch in the face. Until the moment I looked at the camera and realized I didn't have to be the quiet one anymore. I remember standing there, fingers trembling, eyes burning, and thinking, if they won't see me, maybe the internet will. Samantha didn't even notice. She was too busy basking. The way she held the mic like an Oscar. The way Mom looked at her like she was made of light. The way everyone else looked at me like I was lucky to be there. Like I should be grateful for a table in the back, a nod and a toast, a half-hearted, you helped. But I wasn't grateful. I was exhausted from holding it in. From making space for her voice while mine turned into dust. From being told that silence was maturity, that invisibility was grace. No more. That night didn't break me. It woke me up. They saw a slap, a scene, a sister snapping. What they didn't see, what they never see, is everything that came before. The years of tiny cuts. The 1,000 little times I swallowed pain so they could have peace. The way love was always conditional, always measured by what I could provide, absorb, sacrifice. They thought I'd take it like I always do. They didn't see the camera. They didn't hear the audio. They didn't know the world was watching. But they do now. I wasn't the favorite. I was the fallback. That line didn't hit me during the slap. It didn't hit me during the cake delay or the toast Samantha hijacked. It came later, quiet, surgical, undeniable. Like someone finally handed me the script I'd been acting from my entire life, but this time with the stage directions printed in bold. When Mom had her stroke last year, it was me who got the call. Not because they wanted me there, but because Samantha was busy. She had a weekend yoga retreat in Big Sur. Mom doesn't want anyone fussing, she said over speakerphone while packing swimsuits. So I fussed. I booked the hospital room upgrade. I paid the co-pays. I argued with billing, twice. And when they wouldn't accept her insurance, I pulled out my card. No one reimbursed me. No one even asked how much it cost. I didn't bring it up. Not then, not even later. Because being quiet wasn't just a trait, it was currency. It bought me temporary peace. The birthday gift this year? Also me. Samantha forgot until the day before. You're good at thoughtful stuff, she texted. So I found an artisan candle Mom used to love, hunted it down from a boutique that barely had an online presence, and had it gift wrapped with a handwritten tag. I signed it from both of us. Because that's what quiet daughters do. They protect everyone's image, even the ones who never earned it. The party itself? Me again. I made calls every lunch break for 2 weeks, tracked RSVPs in a spreadsheet. I even booked Aunt Lydia's wheelchair-accessible Uber. But when we walked in, someone patted Samantha on the back and said, "You always make these nights magical." And Samantha smiled, didn't even blink. "It's nothing," she said. "Just wanted Mom to feel special." When I asked her once, just once, why she never corrects people, when they give her credit for my work, she said, "You only care when people are watching. That's not real generosity, Em. That's just ego." It felt like someone poured cement into my lungs. I opened my mouth to argue, to say, "No, I care because I'm tired of being invisible." But all that came out was a shrug. I've always been the insurance policy, the backup plan. When Dad needed help with taxes, when Samantha needed someone to walk her dog for just a few weeks that turned into months, when the family vacation needed one more person to split the cost, I was the name that popped up. Not because I was loved, but because I was available. Because I never said no. I remember in high school, Samantha failed her driving test. She cried the whole way home. Mom held her, stroked her hair, whispered, "You're still my superstar." 2 years later, when I passed mine with a perfect score, Mom asked if I could drive Sam to her interview. "She gets nervous," she explained. I nodded. Of course I did. That's what fallback daughters do. They drive. At Thanksgiving 2 years ago, I made the entire meal while Sam decorated one pie. She posted a photo captioned, "Family Feast, made with love." She tagged herself as the chef. Mom shared it and wrote, "My girls are amazing. Just my girls. No names. But everyone knew which one mattered." I can't even count how many times I've heard, "You're so dependable, Emily. So low maintenance. You never make a fuss." As if being forgotten was a virtue. As if being silent was a gift they gave me. But the worst part? I believed them. I told myself maybe I wasn't sparkly enough. Maybe I wasn't funny enough. Maybe I didn't deserve the spotlight because I didn't ask for it. I wore my usefulness like armor. Smiled through being the understudy in my own life. Laughed it off when people forgot my birthday but remembered Samantha's dog's name. I let it slide when Mom introduced me as the one who teaches, and Samantha as our little star. Because stars shine. And I was just there to hold the sky steady. But that night, in that restaurant, after that slap, something cracked. I wasn't a quiet saint. I was a well-trained shadow. And for the first time in my life, I wanted out of the dark. The cake was 15 minutes late. That was all it took. 15 minutes for years of resentment to detonate in front of 30 people. 15 minutes for the illusion of family harmony to shatter like dropped glass. Samantha glanced at her watch like she was counting down a bomb, then looked around the table with a smile stretched too tight, too white. "Is it coming?" she asked, loud enough for everyone to hear. I nodded calmly. "I checked with the kitchen 5 minutes ago. They said they're finishing the garnish." "Garnish?" she snapped. "It's a damn cake, not a wedding centerpiece." I kept my tone level. "They said it'll be out in 2 minutes." Samantha scoffed. "You had one job, Emily." And then it happened. Her hand moved before her face caught up. One clean slap, right across my cheek. Loud, sharp, final. "You're useless," she hissed, as if she'd been waiting to say it for years. The restaurant fell silent. Not the polite hush of a classy dinner, but the stunned, choking silence of 30 people witnessing something they couldn't unsee. Someone dropped their fork. A wine glass wobbled. Aunt Lydia gasped so loud it sounded like a scream. My cousin half stood like he wasn't sure if this was the part where you intervene or pretend it didn't happen. I didn't move. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stood there, cheek stinging, heart pounding, not with pain, but with a strange clarity. I turned, slowly, deliberately, and stared at the little black dome in the corner of the ceiling, the security camera. My voice was even, almost bored. "Smile, Sam," I said. "You're on candid karma." It wasn't just the slap that broke me. It was everything behind it. The years of being dismissed, overlooked, overwritten, the thankless errands, the emotional labor, the whispered, "Emily can handle it," every time someone needed a scapegoat or a stand-in. The way people assumed my silence meant agreement, that being calm meant being weak. That night, all of it surfaced. It boiled over in the shape of a palm across my face, but I didn't break. I ignited. Samantha didn't realize what she'd done. Not really. Not yet. She looked around, wide-eyed, as if waiting for applause, or at least agreement. But all she got was silence. Uneasy silence. Eyes that avoided hers. Half-hidden phones being clutched under tables, and one camera recording everything, high above the center chandelier, blinking its little red light like a countdown. The waiter came out 2 minutes later with the cake. It had "Happy 60th, Mom," written in pink icing. There were sparklers on top. He placed it in front of Mom like nothing had happened. Like we could just continue. Like the bruise on my cheek was invisible if we all squinted hard enough. Mom tried to smile. "Let's just cut the cake, okay?" she whispered, voice shaking. Samantha picked up the knife like she hadn't just committed assault with a side of entitlement. Come on, Em, she said. Let's not ruin the night. I looked at her, really looked. And I knew right then I wasn't going to stay quiet this time. I wasn't going to swallow this like I swallowed everything else. I wasn't going to play the martyr at the family altar of appearances. Not anymore. I walked away from the table, past my stunned relatives, past the waiter still holding extra plates. I walked to the front desk. The manager looked up. I smiled politely. Hi, I need a copy of the security footage from Table 7, including audio. From 8:30 to 8:50, please. He blinked. May I ask why? You'll see, I said. And so will everyone else. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. I felt eerily calm, like my body finally aligned with a truth it had known all along. That love without respect isn't love. That family without accountability is just another prison. That silence, no matter how noble it looks, cannot save you from violence. It only delays the explosion. And tonight, boom. The manager hesitated, like he didn't quite know what to do with me. I wasn't crying, I wasn't screaming. I was too calm, and that made people nervous. Footage? He repeated. Yes, I said. From Table 7, 8:30 to 8:50. Video and audio, please. He blinked again. Was there an incident? I looked him straight in the eye. There was a pattern. Tonight it got loud. I went home with a copy on a flash drive. I watched it once, only once, because I didn't need to relive it. I already had. Every time Samantha talked over me, every time Mom brushed things off, every time someone praised my patience like it was a trophy instead of a survival mechanism. But this time I had evidence. Not just bruises on my heart, but video, sound, context. I didn't ask permission. I didn't give anyone a heads up. I just uploaded it. No filters, no music, no dramatic slow motion, just raw footage, the slap, the insult, the silence that followed. And then me, turning to the camera with that line, "Smile, Sam, you're on candid karma." Caption: When your family abuses you in public, let the truth speak. Within 3 hours, it hit 500,000 views. By noon, it passed 1 million. By sunset, it was on Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok. Someone added dramatic music. Someone else added subtitles in 5 languages. A lawyer stitched it and said, "This is assault, period." Therapists posted reaction videos. So did teachers, nurses, oldest daughters who'd been called selfish the one time they said no. The comments, I read every single one. I shouldn't have, but I did. You're not useless. You're done being quiet. This is the most satisfying plot twist I've ever seen. My mom did the same thing. Thank you for not editing the pain. Silent daughters are finally finding their voice. I thought I'd feel shame, or regret, or fear. But what I felt, what I hadn't felt in years, was power. Not the loud, aggressive kind, but the kind that comes from truth, from being seen. From no longer gaslighting yourself into thinking it wasn't that bad. Samantha texted first. No apology, just, "Take it down. This is disgusting." I ignored it. Then came the call from Mom. "Emily," she said, voice tight, "this is going too far." "No," I replied. "You let her go too far. I'm just pressing play." She was emotional. You humiliated her. She hit me. There was a pause. Then, but still. Still what? Still my fault for not ducking? Still my role to absorb? Still my job to protect the family name at the cost of my own? Not this time. My phone kept buzzing. Cousins, friends, even coworkers I hadn't talked to in months. Some messaged support, some were just nosy. A few said, "I always knew something was off with her." But one message stood out, from a girl I hadn't seen since college. She wrote, "Watching you gave me the courage to report my sister. You started something, Emily. Don't stop now." I didn't. By day 2, I did a pinned post. I'm not here for drama. I'm here for accountability. And for every quiet one who was told to keep the peace while being destroyed in silence. This is your wake-up call. By the end of the week, brands were DMing me. Advocacy pages were reposting the video. Someone made a mashup of me turning to the camera with 3 words. This is power. But it wasn't about fame. It wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. For every birthday where I organized the entire thing and got left out of the photos. For every hospital bill I covered while Samantha posted spa selfies. For every whispered, "Don't make a scene," while I bled inside. This was the scene, and it was mine. The backlash didn't come from strangers. It came from blood. Samantha's name trended for 6 hours, not because she was famous, but because rage travels fast, especially when it's righteous. Especially when it's caught on tape. She didn't text again. She called. 8 times in a row. On the 9th, I answered. "Take it down," she snapped. "No hello. No apology. Just fury, bare and shaking. Take it down or you'll regret it." I didn't flinch. "Regret's a two-way street," I said. "And yours is going viral." "You're blowing this out of proportion," she screamed. "It was just a slap." "No," I said. "It was a summary." She went quiet. That silence, that tiny crack in her voice, that was new. For once, she didn't know what to say. For once, I did. "Do you have any idea what you've done to this family?" She finally snapped. I replied. "I've finally shown them what you've done." Click, call ended. Then came Mom. Not a call, a voice note. 63 seconds of shame dressed up as concern. "Emily," her voice wavered. "I know you're upset, but families fight. It happens. You don't air dirty laundry for the world to see. It makes us look bad. It makes her look bad. And she's still your sister." I didn't reply right away. I sat with it. The word us twisted in my chest. The way she said, "makes us look bad." As if the problem was never the violence, just the visibility. As if the crime was exposure, not impact. That night, I sent her one line. "Then maybe don't make it dirty." No reply. But I knew she saw it. The silence from my family after that wasn't cold. It was tactical. They stopped texting, stopped tagging. They started pretending I was the one who overreacted, the troublemaker, the ungrateful one. Suddenly, I was bitter. Suddenly, I had always been jealous. Funny how fast the script flips when the quiet one gets a mic. Aunt Marlene DM'd me, said she understood but didn't want to get involved. Uncle Gary commented on a post. "Sometimes people snap. You should forgive." But the truth? They'd seen her do worse. Maybe not in public, maybe not on tape. But they knew. They just didn't care until everyone else did. One cousin sent a DM that just said, "Good for you." No heart emoji, no small talk. Just those 3 words, like a quiet fist bump in a war zone. At work, I was quiet. No one said anything directly, but 2 coworkers pulled me aside in the break room and whispered, "Saw your post. Brave." One of them had a sister who cut off contact years ago. The other had a mother who made her cry on her wedding day. Pain has cousins everywhere. But my family? They circled the wagons, not to protect me, but to protect the myth. The myth of Samantha, the golden girl. The myth of our picture-perfect holiday cards. The myth of, we don't talk about things like that, but I do now. What stunned them wasn't the video. It wasn't even the slap. It was the fact that I didn't delete it, that I didn't apologize for sharing it, that I didn't fold the way I always had. And when Samantha's name started popping up in think pieces and therapy TikToks, the panic began. She posted a Notes app apology, thin, vague, crafted by a PR friend. "I regret my actions and the pain I caused. I'm learning." No mention of me, no mention of the slap, just enough words to feel like she did something. The comments didn't buy it. One user wrote, "Imagine hitting your sister in public and then playing victim online." Another, "Learning? Try unlearning entitlement." I didn't post anything else for 3 days. Let the silence grow heavy. Let the world remember that you don't owe anyone forgiveness just because they're family. On day 4, I wrote, "They always told me to be the bigger person. But sometimes, the bigger person is the one who walks away and lets the world see why." No one from the family liked it, but strangers did. Tens of thousands. I left 3 weeks later, packed up my apartment, boxed up the pieces of a version of myself I was done pretending to be, and moved to Austin. A new city, a new start. A place where no one called me the quiet one, where no one looked at me and saw a shadow of my sister, or a placeholder in a family dynamic built on denial. I changed my number, blocked the group chat, deleted the family Facebook group where people still posted blurry holiday photos with forced smiles. I started therapy, real therapy, not venting to a friend or crying into my pillow and calling it processing. I sat in a room and spoke out loud the things I had only ever thought, that I didn't feel loved. I felt useful, That silence had been mistaken for strength, when really it was just a survival skill. That being calm all the time had made everyone else comfortable while I quietly drowned. My therapist asked me one day, "What would happen if you stopped being useful?" I didn't answer. I cried, because I didn't know, because I had never tried. I got a tattoo on my left wrist, small but impossible to ignore. Silence isn't peace. It burned as the needle traced the words into my skin, but it hurt less than pretending. Less than every birthday where I was background. Less than every slap that didn't leave a mark but carved a canyon into my sense of worth. I didn't make a dramatic announcement. I didn't post a final speech. I just lived. Went to coffee shops where no one knew my name. Walked streets where no one expected me to smile on cue. Took photos of sunsets and didn't send them to a family group chat where only Samantha's updates got replies. I made friends, real ones. The kind who asked questions and waited for the answer. Who said things like, "You don't owe them a single breath more." Who didn't think boundaries were betrayal. One night I was sitting on my balcony, scrolling through comments on the video that had started it all. It had crossed 12 million views. There was a message from someone in Idaho. I showed this to my mom. She apologized for the first time in 22 years. Another from a girl in Germany. "Your story gave me the strength to move out." And one that just said, "Thank you. I thought I was alone." I wasn't alone. None of us are. But we've been taught to act like we are, to whisper instead of scream, to edit ourselves until we're unrecognizable, to stay in the role of the peacemaker, the helper, the good one, until we forget we were ever people too. So here's what I've learned. You are not born to be their punching bag, not their emotional sponge, not their scapegoat. You were not put here to absorb their rage, carry their shame, or protect their image at the expense of your soul. You can walk away. You can start over. You can speak up even if your voice shakes. Even if your hands tremble and your family unfollows you and your mother says you're ruining everything. Let it ruin. Let it fall apart. Sometimes the only way out is through the rubble. And when you get out, really out, you'll find people waiting. People who heard your voice and saw themselves in your story. People who were waiting for someone to go first. So if you've ever been the quiet one, if you've ever swallowed your truth to keep the peace, if you've ever stared at the ceiling wondering if maybe it was your fault, this is your sign. You're not too sensitive. You're not dramatic. You're not wrong for wanting more than survival. You deserve softness. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. Not the fake kind that comes from staying silent, but the real kind that comes when you finally speak. And if you're ready to speak, we're here. Hit subscribe. This isn't just a story. This is a movement. We're rewriting the family script together.